So let's talk about course objectives. In this course, we're going to help you learn economics so you can be more productive, creative, ethical, and engaged citizens. We're going to introduce you to the economist way of thinking, enhance your understanding of the behavior of individuals and firms, enhance your understanding of the behavior of governments, and enable you to discuss and independently analyze the effects of government policies. For this course, there's no prerequisites. I'm assuming you know nothing about economics. One thing you have to know. Economics is not about math, but you are required to have some knowledge of math. It's not possible to learn about economics without knowing basic operations of math. So you have to know how to solve some equations and plot graphs. If you have questions about exactly what you need to know, you're more than welcome to email me and I'll explain further. Let's look at some of the topics we will cover this semester. We'll start with the basics. We'll talk about how the markets operate. We'll talk about role of the incentives and role of the information. We'll move to the discussion of the role of government, problems with government, and we'll talk a little bit about politics or collective decision making. Then we'll move to the discussion of our economy as a whole. We'll talk about productivity and standard of living, GDP, inflation, and unemployment. We'll discuss money in banking, and we'll talk about financial markets. And finally, we'll conclude with discussion of international economics. We'll talk about exchange rates, trade, and development economics. So what's required and what's not for this course? There are 3 required resources for this course. First and most important one, Naked Economics by Charles Wheeling. It's the book. You can either get it from a bookstore or you can get the book from Amazon or other online retailer. The good news about this book is it's about $15. That's all you have to spend for the book in this course. You're also required to have all the lectures and all the lecture notes. All of those are going to be posted on D2L for your pleasure. Also, I will require you to use internet. There's more help on internet that you can possibly imagine. Don't be afraid to use it, but when you do, don't forget to say thank you by appropriately citing the source of your information. So whenever you're working on the homework assignments, don't be scared to use the internet for help. You can use my help, but if I'm not available at that particular moment, don't be scared to use internet. Just make sure that you cite in the source of your information. So let's talk about the grading and the grade for this course. Your final grade will be determined on the basics of homework, discussions, and final projects. Specifically, you will receive the grades for the following categories. Your participation in syllabus course total will account for the 5%. You will be required to take lecture notes and that will be 10% of your overall grade. Homework will be counted as 15%, quizzes for 15% as well, and discussions 15%. You will be required to write a letter to the editor, which will be 10% of your total grade, and you'll have 2 projects, midterm project and a final project, each accounting for 15%. The grading scale is pretty straightforward. I don't think there's going to be any surprises there. So let's talk about each of these categories specifically. You will be required to participate in this class. So class participation is going to be determined by your overall participation in this course. What kind of questions you were asking me, whether or not you participated in non-graded group discussions, and whether or not you were seeking help in office hours or during online office hours. For this non-graded group discussions, for each chapter, there will be a group discussion posted online. If you have any questions, you can ask your peers for answers. You can ask me, of course, but don't be afraid to ask your peers as well. So if you ask in questions and if you remember to check in that discussion and answer some of the questions, that's how you earn the participation grade in this class. Unfortunately, we won't have many face-to-face interactions, but I would like to get to know you a little bit better. So you will receive an email from me in the beginning of the semester, probably within this week, that will have some questions. Please reply to that email by the end of the first week. You will have about a week to reply to that email. You won't be graded on the answers you give, but you must email me back in order to receive this participation grade. So both participation in group discussions, seeking help in office hours, and your introduction email will count towards your participation grade. This is probably the easiest grade you can receive in this class, so don't lose those points. You also need to be aware of all course policies. Well, you're listening to this lecture, so that's a good start. But also, I want you to take another look at the syllabus. Please read the Word file. Read the Word syllabus file. You will have to read it very carefully and maybe read it several times. At the end, you will have to take a syllabus quiz which will account for 2.5% of your total grade. Lecture notes. For each topic covered in this class, there is going to be a printable PowerPoint lecture and video lectures that you have to watch and listen to. There's also going to be a handout or lecture, or what I call lecture notes, for each lecture that contains some definitions, graphs, and tables. These notes will have a lot of blanks, so when you listen to the lectures, you will have to fill in those blanks with necessary information. You can choose to keep your own notes, but in my experience, these handouts really help students learn in a more efficient way. No matter what you decide to do, you must keep some kind of the notes. Each week, you will have to submit your notes through D2L. Either your own notes or those lecture notes that are provided for you. Your notes can be either typed or handwritten. If you choose to handwrite your notes, you will have to scan them and upload them to D2L. You can also take a picture of your notes and upload it to D2L. Just make sure that your picture has large enough resolution so I can actually see what you've written there. If you choose to type your notes, you can just save the file and upload it to D2L. Sometimes typing is more difficult. We will look at some graphs, and those are not very easy to type using Microsoft Word. So from my experience, what students end up doing, if they want to type their notes, they can, but still print it. Use your hand when you draw the graphs. Then just scan it or take a picture of your notes and then upload it to D2L. If you don't have all the information we discussed during the lecture in your notes, you're not going to be able to receive the full credit for this notes. You must take your own notes. You cannot submit somebody else's notes as your own. That would be considered cheating. So please don't do that. Homework. Let's talk about general policies. You will have about 10 to 12 homework assignments every week. For this whole course. Lowest two scores will be dropped and your homework grade will be calculated as the average of the remaining assignments. Be careful about the deadlines. Use your time efficiently and don't leave things to the last minute. If you miss homework deadline for any reasons, it will automatically be counted as your lowest score homework. Remember, each homework assignment is going to be due Monday at 11 p.m. So each Monday I will post the homework assignment and it will be due next Monday at 11 p.m. Do your homework. The homework is a major part of this class. From my experience, students who complete homework on the regular basis have better grade in class. Also, students who are just short a few points of the next best grade usually are missing those points because of the missed homework. Remember that homework must be an individual work. It must be your individual work, and copying the answers of another student is definitely cheating. You are encouraged to discuss the course and homework assignments, but please use appropriate discussion boards to ask and answer your peers' questions. If you have any questions about what's allowed and what's not allowed, please talk to me and I'll explain further. All the homework assignments will be posted on D2L. All the homework will consist on short answer questions. You will have to type your answers, save the file, and attach it to the corresponding Dropbox folder. Please do not email me your homework assignment even if you missed the deadline. If you must submit your homework on time in order to receive the credit. You will have the whole week to complete the homework, so there will be no extensions given. Quizzes. For each new topic, you will be required to read the book. I will provide you with a reading guide for each book chapter. I expect you to read the book and fill in the blanks in the reading guides. All of those reading guides are already posted on D2L. So if you want to read the book ahead, you're more than welcome to. If you don't want to keep the reading guides, you don't have to, but from my experience, they really help when it comes to understanding what book is saying, and it really helps for you to remember what book was talking about. To ensure that you're reading the book, there will be a quiz for each new chapter that will include 10 questions from your reading guide. If you read the book, you should be able to answer quiz questions without any problems. There will be a total of 13 quizzes. Lowest two scores will be dropped, and your quiz grade will be calculated as the average of the remaining quizzes. If you miss a quiz for whatever reason, or if you don't have time to take it for that particular week, it will automatically be counted as the lowest score quiz, and it will be dropped from the calculated grade. Remember, there will be no makeup quizzes for any reasons. So once again, pay attention to the deadline. Take the quiz on time. Online discussions. There will be a total of 6 discussion topics in this course. You are required to participate in each one of them. During these discussions, you are expected to post your own comments, read others' comments, and make substantive comments on the post of the other students. These discussions will take place on D2L website. Each discussions will be open for 1 week and will be worth a maximum of 10 points. Of these 10 points, up to 3 points will be given for the quality of your main post. Up to 4 points you can receive for making 2 substantial comments on your classmates' posts. And up to 3 points is going to be given to you for your overall engagement in discussion. You will have to read every post made by your classmates. You will have to log into the course on multiple days through the week and post the comments on multiple days throughout the week. So please remember to do that. A lot of times students lose these participation points, and those are once again the easiest points to earn. Another assignment you will have this semester is the letter to the editor. You will have to write a letter to the editor of some kind of a newspaper. This letter will refer to an article that has appeared within the last 7 days and should be considered as a critique, positive or negative, of the article, opinion piece, or editorial. The letter to the editor either attempts to explain why the opinion piece is right or wrong. If the letter is written in the support, you must explain why the author is right. Add to the author's arguments. If the letter is written as a critique, you must explain why you think the author is wrong. Remember that in your letter, even though you express in your opinion, you have to show me your understanding of economics. That's what you're going to be judged on. How well you express your economic knowledge in your letter. It's going to be graded based on the following 5 categories. For each of the categories, you can earn either 2 or 1 or 0 points. So those categories are as follows. Does this article relates to the economic issue? So this says microeconomic, but it actually is supposed to be economic issue. Is this letter clearly written and easy to understand? Is format of the letter matches instructions? Do you show the understanding of the economic concept that you're discussing? And do you use economic logic instead of appealing for emotions? A lot of times when we talk about our opinions or the subject is somewhat controversial, we like to say things like, well, it's only fair, or it's common sense to do this. Avoid those sentences. Please make sure to use economic logic, not appeal to emotions. Students who actually submit their assignment late will lose 10% of the grade for each day the assignment is missed. So if for whatever reason you couldn't complete this letter on time, you can submit it later, but you will lose 10% for each day the assignment is late. You can also submit this later earlier, so you don't have to wait up until the deadline to submit this letter to me. Midterm and final projects. Both of them will be posted on D2L, and you will have to submit them through D2L as well. Both projects will consist of 10 questions. You are allowed to use course material when you answer in the questions. All answers must be your individual work. If I ask you to provide an example, it must be your own example from your own life, not the book, not the lecture, not the internet. If I ask you to explain something in your word, once again, remember to explain it in your own words, not the words from the book, lecture, not just given the definition. A good rule of thumb is to imagine that you're explaining the concept to someone who knows nothing about economics. So pick somebody from your family who has no idea what economics is about. Explain that concept to them, and then write it in your answer. Some of the other questions you may have. What if you feel like you've fallen behind? Then talk to me as soon as possible. The sooner you start acting, the better chance you have to complete this class with a good grade. If you're trying hard, studying the lectures, doing your homework on time, completing assignments, you will do great in this class. I have no doubt about that. And I will help you as much as I can. But if you don't want to do work, I will not be able to help you no matter how hard I try. If you feel like some of your work wasn't graded correctly, which is also possible, please discuss it with me. Please observe the following rule where you want to do that. You have to submit your dispute in writing within 48 hours after receiving your grade. You can submit your dispute either by email or give it to me in person. I will review your dispute and inform you about my decisions. You can discuss my response with me either through email or in person. So please make sure to follow this rule when you want to discuss your grade if you feel like I didn't grade you correctly. Final words. Please leave all the excuses at home. If you don't understand the assignment, ask for help as soon as possible. If you didn't study, please accept the grade and try to do better next time. I will help you as much as I can. If you refuse to follow my rules, please accept the consequences. Remember, I'm here to teach you, I'm here to inspire you, I'm here to help you grow. I'll do my part, the rest is up to you. Let's have a wonderful semester.